Which one is Mr. Poodle's? Well, hello there, friends. So today, look what we're doing. We're working on a chair. So this is a really nice chair, except for this armrest right here. Well, their dog went and got to this armrest. What a tragedy, huh? So what we're going to be doing is a foam repair, a new cover for this here. So this was leather, but trying to find a leather match to this would be virtually impossible. So they opted for doing it in the closest match vinyl. So we're going to make the vinyl cover for this, put it all back together, and get a happy customer. So here we go. So what we have here is uncoated leather. That's what this is. So the thing about uncoated leather, I guess I could demonstrate this real quick, is uncoated leather right here. You can see this. I guess I could use this one right here. But what it does is it scratches really easy. Look at that. That's uncoated leather for you. You know, all the leather like in your car seats and all has that little plastic cover on it, the plastic coating. You know, people, they say, oh yeah, it's leather, but it's really leather with a plastic coating on top. That way, this doesn't happen every time you sit on your seat. Look at that. So what that means to me is I got to be really careful. That's why I put it on this carpet right here, so that way it doesn't get scratched. You can see that there's already some scratches on it. Somebody sat down on it or something rubbed up against it. And, you know, as this chair ages, it's just going to get worse and worse. So I had to study this chair and find out how it comes apart and goes back together again. What's the design of this thing? So it looks like there's a welt right here, or a beading, or a piping, whatever you want to call it. So it's just inserted in there. It looks like it's glued in there with some hot glue. I was wondering how that was done. So I can see right there, that's hot glue. It's kind of sticky, kind of gooey. But anyway, it looks like they just glued it in there like that. Okay, well we got that, and right here we got some staples. I'm going to have to take out some staples right there. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to take this cover off. So what I found out was that this staple puller that I always use for like everything, I can't really get into the staple because of the angle of the tool. Won't allow me to reach it this way, and if I try to go this way, this chair is in the way. So that kind of makes this tool here useless. So what do? Well, we improvise. I take what about a little screwdriver? Take a little screwdriver. I remember years ago, before I was using staple pullers, I was pretty much exclusively just using screwdrivers like this. You know, it's like whatever works, right? So when you're young and just starting out and you don't have any instruction and you're being self-taught, you kind of do whatever it takes to make it work. And that's what I did there. Okay, we're going to just pull out all these staples. I guess it's probably going to take me a while to do this. So I'm not sure if I want to put you all through the pain of watching me pull every little staple out. But that's progress right there. We're getting there. You know, when you're using a screwdriver like this, pretty much anything will come apart, right? You're like demolition crew over here. If you find value in my upholstery tutorials, now is an easier way to contribute to my YouTube channel. Buy a coffee by scanning this QR code now. Thank you. And there wasn't much holding this on at all. That's how easy this thing came off. I didn't even have to pull on it very hard. So those of you that have been paying attention the last couple weeks, my last couple videos, you heard the news that I'm going to be retiring in the Philippines on a paradise island. And it's true. Matter of fact, my wife, who left for the Philippines about almost a month ago, she is going to be standing on the property that we're purchasing. She's going to be there tomorrow morning, about 24 hours from now. And she'll be giving me a call, and she'll be walking the property, and she'll let me know what she thinks about the place. So the place, if you didn't see those videos, it's called Port Barton on an island called Palawan. And it's like the tourist destination, the up-and-coming tourist destination. So it's just a small little fishing village, which in recent times has been featured in a lot of YouTube videos. But because of these YouTube videos, this island is getting popular now. And it's becoming a destination. People from all over the world are paying thousands of dollars to vacation on this beach in Port Barton. So if all goes well, I'll be living there. And when I'm living there, it won't cost me anything. Isn't that amazing? It'll cost me almost nothing to live there. You know, after we build our house, right? I'll just probably be paying for some Starlink or something. So I can keep making my instructional videos. And cell phone. What else am I going to be paying other than food? So that's like the whole idea, is to go over there and retire. Not have a whole lot of expenses. So tomorrow she's going to be there on the property. I'm so excited. Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? I'm so excited. Getting there. Look at that. See the mess that this is making? This leather, how easily it scratches? That's crazy, huh? You know what that's like? You know those Ford trucks, the King's Ranch trucks, they have that uncoated leather. They look good when they're new, but after a couple weeks they look like this. But you know, that's what they did. The other thing about the old uncoated leather also, it gets old prematurely. So after a couple years of sitting on a King's Ranch truck seat, it's starting to look pretty bad. Those of you that have those trucks or know somebody that has one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So what I do when I pull a staple, I put all my staples in a little pile. I never put them on the floor. I remember when I was young, when I was 15 years old, and I was working with my uncle who had the upholstery shop. What he would do, and he would ever take anything off, like staples like this or hog rings. You know where they would go? They'd go right on the floor. I remember stepping on them, stepping on the hog rings, right? They're sticking to the bottom of my shoes. Golly, I couldn't stand that. I think that's probably why I put them in a nice, neat little pile right now. So I went through that traumatic experience of having hog rings sticking to the bottoms of my shoes. Getting there. Now, got almost all of them here. Okay, that's all loose. So I'm taking all the staples out. I don't want to leave anything hanging there because I don't want to scratch anything. Okay, I got some up here that are going to be really hard for me to reach. It'd be easier if I was taller, but I'm a short guy. So it's going to be easy, a little harder for me to get to. Let me see if I can just pull it like this. Okay, they are right here. What if I can just pry it out like that? Look at the stress on that leather. Wow, that's incredible. Look what it did to that leather by stretching it. The leather just turned like 10 shades lighter right there. Wow, that's scary. Make our own tools, huh? Look at that. Mm-hmm. Nice. It's only one screw holding it on. Let's see, what's it holding it on here? Or is it one screw or is it two screws? I don't feel another hole. What is that? Okay. There was nothing. I guess it must have been some staples. There's our cover. So next is to figure out how to clean this off. So I guess what I will do is my trusty hacksaw blade that you've seen in numerous other videos. Let's see if I can strip this off. Try to do this foam repair. Oop, there goes my phone. I didn't take that call. The calls that don't originate from Texas, I can't answer them. So, some of you have found out. Okay, and just continue to clean this off as best as I can. Make a huge mess. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now that we got that cleaned off, I'm going to take some of my 1/2-inch scrim. You know how I love my scrim. See if that'll work. The only thing is there might be a line. There might be a line that's showing there. But I have an idea for that too. That way we don't have that. Okay. I think I could probably put this on there. Because it actually feels pretty similar. And it's the same thickness. So I think that'll work. So I thought I'd protect the chair. So I'm going to be spraying some glue. Okay, so you know how I feel about not letting the glue dry for, what does they say? 5 or 10 or 15 minutes? I just put it on right away. This is contact adhesive. And that's what they say. But you know what? I don't let it dry. I like it to stay wet while I'm working with it. Because it's going to grab everything much better when it's still wet. Better than when it's dry. Okay. Get rid of the bulk. Okay, now we can trim it. How's that? That was pretty easy, wasn't it? So if you notice, I put the scrim side, the fabric backing, I put it on the outside, not on the inside. Because it'll actually help you slide the cover over because it's a little slippery. So it will aid in the installation of the cover. Oh, there goes the phone again. Always. Well, that was this customer. Amazing how that happens sometimes. Just wanting to make arrangements to come pick it up. So this is my idea for this line right here. Is if I just take some tape to bridge over that. If I take some tape, bridge over the top of that, that way we don't have that line there anymore. I think that'll help a lot. Okay. So this is the vinyl that was chosen, Sierra Soft Medium Brown. So it's pretty much the closest match. It's darker than this stuff, but this got a lot lighter once I started pulling on it. Look at that. Want to see something amazing? I'm still amazed by this. See how it's dark right here? Watch what happens when I stretch the material. Wow, look at that. Is that crazy? Wow. Okay, so I'm going to start taking this thing apart here for patterns. What's going to be interesting is to make up the other end, the end that's missing. So some of you know who Lucille the box cutter is. Good old Lucille. She makes an appearance every now and then. There was one time when she disappeared for about 6 months. I didn't know where it was. But here she is. One of the stars of the show. She's been around a long time. So, I always explain how I take a grinder and I grind the edge of the blade here to cut the threads. It's that easy. I guess I don't need that. I could still make my pattern for that. Okay, let's go ahead and make our patterns. Okay, being that we're missing some that I would just measure. So what I got here is about 29.5. So if I just take it right to the edge there, take my white China marker, mark 29.5. Okay, and it looks to me like the width on this, here in the middle anyway, is about 10. What's it over here? 10.25. What's it over here? 9.25. Isn't that interesting? So I guess what I'll do here is I'll go 10.25 right here, 9.25 right here. Let's go ahead and mark and cut this up. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do right away is mark center. This is another way I have of doing it. You've seen me do it with China marker. But that's another way of doing it. It's folding it in half. Mark your center right there. You got to do that on both ends because we got to cap them. Just fold it in half. Now you know where your center is. Put a little notch like that. I don't know if you could see that. Okay, that's one piece. Okay, so this is the rear cap. I'm going to call it a cap. Make this pattern. Sometimes people in the comments, they'll say, well, where is your sewing allowance when you mark something? Well, you can see right there that I added in the sewing allowance. Right there. So that's one. Now, how do I make the other one? The other one is missing. What I see here is that they are very similar, except one is shorter than the other. I'm going to say about, let's eyeball it. Okay, remember how I always say that it's not rocket science? Okay, sometimes we eyeball something. Or you know what, I can even just mark it right there with my thumb. See right there? Mark it right there. So instead of laying it flat like I did the other one, I'm just going to let it sit naturally like this, and that's what I'm going to use for my pattern. And then our line is right there. Okay. I'll leave just a little bit extra, just in case. That way I don't come up short. Okay, there's our two ends. So we're also going to mark center on these. So we'll fold these in half. Mark our center. That way when we go to put these together, we'll just match up these notched edges, these notched marks right there. So we're going to be needing our welts here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this here for welts. I usually cut them at about 1.5 inches. About 1.5 inch wide strips here. Remember, not rocket science. You didn't see me pull out a measuring tape or a yardstick or anything for that, right? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and sew up some welt here. So what I have here is a 1/4 inch welt foot on my machine. And I always tell people in comments that I never change it. It's always on my machine like 99.9% of the time. Every once in a great while, I might put on this zipper foot right here. You see how it's just got that one little side right there for a zipper? But you know what? I rarely use that. So pretty much I use this, I keep the welt foot on there. I never remove it from the machine. I'll flip it over. Start at our center again. And work our way the other direction. So this one here, you don't have to lock the stitch if you don't want to, because it's already locked. But if you want to, you could just lock the stitch. Okay. We'll keep sewing it. Okay, I'm just going to stop it right there. Because now what I have to do is I have to join these two together. Okay, now we'll do our final stitch on this end. Okay, let's see how that turned out. Oh, it's like a little sock. Turn it right side out. Okay, always inspect your work. Okay, you see why? See right there where it didn't sew in tight enough? That's why we always inspect our work. And a little bit here too. So I know that I have to tighten that up a little bit. You know, I easily could have edited that out. But then this is real world stuff here. Okay, what makes it so tough is that this is so small. So all we're doing now is we're just tightening it up, sewing it closer to the welds. Okay. Inspect again. You know why you always have to inspect your work? Because you don't want your customer to find something wrong. If there is something wrong, you want to be the one to spot it before the customer does. Okay, that tightened it right up. Look at that. Okay, I hope this one's easier because it's bigger. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to this side. If for some reason you missed what I did on the other one, you can catch it here. Okay. Okay, you can see there where I'm going about a ½ inch past this end. That's where I'm going to cut. Free this one up. Okay, cut our welt insert. This is too long. Okay, now put these ends together. And remember, repetition is when you're learning. That's how you learn, by repetition. You repeat something enough times, or even 1,000 times, then you know that there's no question about how it gets done. Okay. Now, make sure I know what the center is. It's right there. It's right here. Starting our center. Right there. So people, they ask me about like stitch length a lot. So really, my standard stitch length on bigger pieces like boat seat cushions or car seats is, on my machine, it's a number 7, which is probably just under 1/4 inch stitch length. But you can see how tight my stitches are right here. I probably have it on a set on about number 5. So my rule of thumb is, when you're working on something small, you'll want to use a smaller stitch. If you're working on something big, then you'll want to use a bigger stitch. So now we'll want to inspect it again. Okay. So while I'm here at the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and make these other 2 trim welts, the ones that get glued on. These ones I'm going to sew tighter. Okay, let's see what it takes to put this back on. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is take my trusty heat gun and warm this up. That'll help this stretch. Let's get it nice and hot. Okay, let's try it for the stretch. It's going to have to stretch quite a bit. Let's see, I have to reposition this so I can pull. Let's see if I can pull it, because I'm not that strong anymore. Let's see if I could do it this way. I'm getting closer. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah, yeah. Look at that. Okay. I'm feeling like I'm getting someplace. Okay, it looks like it's where it's supposed to be. Now we got to try to staple it. Okay, now let's see how well this does. Let's see if I can get this. Nope, missed that one. Okay, that's our first one. Thing is, I have to get this staple right on the edge, because I can't have any bulk in here because of that. I have to glue in that welt here. Sometimes it's hard for me to get in a good position here because I'm trying not to get in the way of the camera. But sometimes I gotta get in front of the camera, I guess. Okay, got it. Let's See if I can just continue here. Okay, got that side. Whew, take a breather. Next. I'm trying to get on the edge of that vinyl without missing it. Okay. What would be a tragedy if I trimmed it too short, huh? Okay, it looks like that's it. It's nice when you get it right the first time. It's a bonus. Okay, now see if I can staple that. Oops, I didn't have the record button on right, but what I did is I just shot some staples in here. So I got to do the other side. So to be sure that I don't miss it this time, I will not turn off the camera. There it is. Okay. Step in front of the camera again. Trim this side. Okay. That tucked in real nice. Let me trim just a little bit more here. Okay, I'll go ahead and put these staples in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my welt here and I'm going to cut right next to the thread right there without actually cutting the thread. Okay. That's what's going to insert right there just like that. Okay, this is going to be interesting because I have to probably do this in sections because that hot glue is going to cool down. Okay. So, don't tell anybody that you saw me do this. Okay, this is our secret using the hot glue. Okay, I'm just going to hit it one more time with the heat gun. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So, my friends, until next time, we'll see ya. If you like this video, you'll really like the next one.